Awesome. I'm just going to get started in like 1 minute. Sorry I'm so late this morning. Good morning. For support flow, you'll want 2 blankets and 2 to 3 pillows or cushions. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so thank you for waking up to practice. With me. Support flow is one of my favorite things because I'm not so good at slowing down. I'm not so good at slowing down. And on top of that, I know that it's so good for my body to slow down and give my nervous system a message that I'm thinking about my body and that I'm safe and I'm supported. And even though, yoga and physical practice like this can't take away my stress, it still helps me manage my stress by giving my nervous system some space to just recalibrate. So a support flow like this, something that's super restorative, it's going to give all of our organs some space to recalibrate, to function at a full healthy capacity. It's going to support our digestion and our blood flow and our blood circulation. So let's find a comfortable seat. And if your knees are feeling tense or if your hips are feeling tense, just take some blankets or some pillows and stuff them under there. That'll work really nicely. Resting the hands on the knees or bringing the hands to heart center. Let's roll the shoulders open a few times. And let's just slow the breath down here. Stacking shoulders on top of hips. Feeling that length coming from the top back of the head. Feeling the spine lengthen on the inhale. Exhale, relax the hips heavy, relax the shoulders heavy, relax the elbows heavy. Slow inhales, long controlled exhales. And something we can do to extend our breath even more is just to bring a little bit more core work into the breath. So on the inhale, see if you can feel your core pushing out and see if you can feel your core pushing down. Pulling down, exhaling to slowly release the diaphragm, which is the core muscle, back up to our lungs, our diaphragm attaches to the bottom of our rib cage. So every time we inhale, it kind of pulls down. And that pressure inside of our thoracic cavity helps our lungs expand even more. So as we pull our core down further and further, as we pull our diaphragm, there's more space for our lungs to expand. And then exhale to slowly release so that we feel like we're pushing every last bit of air out of the lungs. Inhale, pulling down, expand, push out. Exhale, slowly release the diaphragm back to the rib cage. A few more slow, deep breaths. How slow, long, controlled can we make these breaths? And inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. Exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, release. And let's add a little bit more structure to these breaths. We'll breathe in for 4, hold the breath for 4, and exhale the shoulders down for 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath here. 2, 3, 4. Exhale down. 2, 3, 4. Inhale up. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath here. 2, 3, 4. Exhale down. 2, 3, 4. Inhale up. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath here. 2, 3, 4. Exhale down. 2, 3, 4. Inhale up. 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath here. 2, 3, 4. Exhale down. 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and roll the shoulders open. I know that my shoulders have really been feeling it from typing at a computer and sitting at a table and at a desk for so long. And I'm trying to remember to keep good posture, but my shoulders are still, my upper back is still really feeling the impact of all of this work. Okay, just to open up the neck a little bit, I'm going to try something new. So releasing this left arm heavy, we'll reach the right arm behind us and see if you can grab onto your left wrist. So my right hand is holding onto my left wrist, and I'm going to pull that left shoulder down. So I'm going to pull, my right arm is pulling the left wrist down, and I'm feeling my left shoulder engage so that I can let my head lean to the right. So as we pull my left shoulder down, I'm opening up, letting my head just fall to the right. And turning towards the right armpit, let the head fall. Switching sides, let the left hand grab the right shoulder as we pull the right shoulder down, and letting the head fall to the left. And turning towards the left armpit, chin to chest, letting the head fall at this diagonal. Keep pulling the right shoulder down. And release, roll the neck. Okay. So I'd love to give our spine a little warm up. So grab a pillow, grab a cushion. If you don't have a pillow or a cushion, go ahead and pause the video and grab one or a few. And we're gonna make our classic incline here with have a bolster. This would be great as maybe a few pillows or a thick, firm sofa cushion. And then I have another pillow under here. You could use a block or a big can of beans or some books. You just want to have an incline, so whatever works for you. Let's sit lower back to the edge of this incline. And let's first go ahead and turn to the right. So I'm going to turn my body to the right. I'm going to adjust my legs so that both knees are bent and my right foot is resting right on top of my left thigh. My left leg is behind me, my right leg is still in front. And as I continue this twist, We can rest on our bolster. The goal here is to let our spine just be heavy. This is a pretty deep twist, so it's intense. If you want something a little more intense, after you take some time here, you could come carry on this rotation by turning to your right. Well, I guess it was your left before, but resting on the left here. So regardless of where you are, this is a great twist for us. It doesn't matter if our left ear or right ear is down. This is still a great twist to release toxins, to support our digestion. Right now we're moving digestion through our ascending colon. And if you can, find a space where you're really just resting. We're really resting our body on this incline, resting into this twist. Slow the breath down here. Try to keep the attention on the breath if you can. Slow, long, controlled, expansive breaths. Feeling ourselves inflate on the inhale and exhaling to just deepen into this twist. Noticing if we're holding tension anywhere, identify parts of your body where you're holding yourself up with your musculature, and try to just relax that part of your body into the floor. And when you're ready, pressing up gently. Let's come to the other side. So with our feet, we can just kind of swivel so that our right foot's now behind us, left foot's stacked right on top of the right thigh. As we turn to the left, we can rest on our incline with our left ear on the bolster or pillow. And once you've given us some space, if you're looking for something deeper, you can twist the cervical spine so that the right ear rests on the pillow. And then eventually try to just think heavy. Breathing into the space around the spine. Feel the space around the spine inflate on the inhale and deflate heavy on the exhale. Our digestion is moving into our descending colon. Slow, deep, long, intentional breaths. Feel yourself inflate and deflate, release heavy. When you're ready, gently pressing up out of this twist. Whew. Nice deep twist there. Okay. Feel free to give yourself a little bit more mobility here, just twisting side to side. Maybe roll the shoulders open. Okay. So removing this pillow from the incline, I want to take a fish pose before we go into a forward fold. So for that, we'll just place our cushion or our pillows just where they were, just without the incline. Rearranging ourselves so that once again our lower back is resting against the base of our pillow. And we can lean back into this so that our hips, our booty is still resting fully on the floor, and our spine is resting on a pillow. It's okay if your head hangs off. Some people actually like their head to like touch the floor if your pillow is short enough. And here in fish pose, we can bring the palms to the sides. We can plant the feet and bend the knees like this. This is totally fine. This makes my hips feel super heavy, which is really nice. You can also just stretch the legs long, like you would in Shavasana, and let the legs flop heavy. And you could also take a butterfly, pressing the bottoms of the feet into each other, opening the knees and opening the hips. And of course, don't forget that you can place some cushions or some pillows or blankets. In fact, I'm going to do that. Even if you don't feel like you need it, whatever that means, having some support for your nervous system will increase your flexibility, because your nervous system, the part of your nervous system, your sensory neurons that kind of like are involved in articulating how far you can stretch and how flexible your muscles will release. Having that support there, so it feels to our muscles, it feels like, oh, that's the ground, and we can just go ahead and relax here. Like we don't have to hold ourselves with strength. So when we bring a prop there, we're giving our nervous system a message that it can relax, it can release, and so some of the tension that we're holding, which can be even subconsciously holding or without intention holding, um, we can go ahead and release here if we give ourselves enough time. So even if you don't feel like you need it, I encourage you to bring some blankets underneath the knees. And just lay heavy in this restorative fish. However your legs are, let your hips sink into the floor with every exhale. Feel the space around your spine expand with every inhale. Inviting us to slow the breath down. Make any little adjustments that might bring you comfort. This slow support flow is about giving our body space to be comfortable, to feel supported, to feel safe. And of course, we can't actually artificially create safety just with our body, but we can give our body a sense of safety, which is still valuable in supporting our vital organs and our digestion system, our sex drive, in supporting all of these parts of our functioning to recalibrate, to operate at full potential. So that sense of safety is still valuable anatomically speaking. Trying to just feel a bit heavier with every exhale, and every vertebra release into this pillow cushion under our spine. And rocking knees from side to side. Coming back to center. And however you want, let's gently roll up. And to counter that gentle back bend, we'll offer ourselves a forward fold. Every time we do a back bend, it's great to offer a counter pose and to fold the spine in the other way. So for that, we'll invite us to open up to a wide straddle. Let's alternate flex and point. And just to open up the hips a bit more, I'm going to press my hands behind me, kind of opening my chest forward. And I'm going to keep flex and point, alternate flex and pointing, but this time I'm going to lift the knee when I flex. So when I flex my ankle, feet, toes, my knee lifts, notice how my heels aren't really sliding. It's more so an adjustment here in my hip sockets. And when my foot is pointing, I'm pressing my thigh down, pressing that knee down. So opening up our hip sockets. And then reaching the chest forward. It doesn't matter how far we incline. So, the biggest option is just to be here, which is almost the same as sitting up tall. We're just kind of leaning forward ever so slightly. And that lean forward is going to help tilt our pelvis forward, which is really what we're going for, to relieve some tension in the outer hips, the lower back, and then of course the hip flexors themselves and our hip sockets. So you can just lean forward like this with a full pillow or cushion stack. And if you're looking for something a little bit deeper, then we can create an incline. You can use a series of materials to create this incline forward. We want to feel our chest really resting. So it's morning time for me. I haven't been moving, so I don't feel like my hips are super flexible yet. So I'm giving myself a little bit more incline to just let my chest rest here. Find what works for you. The only thing I'll say is try not to lean so that it's just your head resting. We want to feel our chest. We want to feel the spine. We want to feel this weight reaching forward. Even if it's not very much, that's okay. Even if it's just an energetic reach, that's okay. But try to find enough support, prop support, that we can just rest there. We can just let our weight fall. And after some time, if you want, you can lower it down, you can remove some of that incline. Keep flexing these feet as you're here to keep the calves, and the hamstrings protected. Try to keep the feet and the legs engaged. Trying to keep our attention on the breath. Of course, it's okay to let your mind wander. But the more we can focus on our breathing, the more we can slow down the breath and expand our inhales and lengthen our exhales to be slow, long, and controlled. The more we bring this attention to the breath, the more release we'll have, the deeper we'll go. Try to focus on the breath. Try to think about the breath. It's okay to get distracted. It's okay for the mind to wander. Just bring us back. up when you're ready. And try not to move the legs with the hands, trying to smooth them up. And then I'd love to take a molasses squat. We'll move back to our back. So for a molasses squat, we're going to actually stand up. And you may want to create a stack of pillows, at least at first. And maybe creating a little bit of outer rotation in the feet. My feet are just slightly more than hip width apart, slightly wider. Notice how my feet are rotated out. Anytime we are bending the knees, I want them to move in the direction that our feet are pointing, okay? So this is just like how our body is designed. Our knee is not meant to bend in other directions without the support of our foot and our hip. So, even when I bend my knee in, notice how I'm lifting and rotating my foot so that my knee's still bending in the direction that my foot is pointing. So we don't want our knee to bend out of alignment because we can really seriously damage ligaments that are holding our knee together. So with that, I'm bending my knees in the direction of my feet, bringing my hips to the pillow for a molasses squat. This is not passive in the lower body, so keep pressing the feet into the floor. For me, I tend to press the outer edges more. So to counter that, I'm going to press the inner edges of the floor down. Or I tend to lean to the outer edges of my feet, but I'm going to really press the inner edges of my feet down. And our elbows can kind of tuck in the inside of our thighs. Just be careful not to press into the knees. I'm opening the chest, opening the shoulders, pressing my palms together. And as I press my elbows out, my knees are squeezing in. So lots going on, lots of opportunities for engagement here in our body. Slow breaths. Again, inhaling to feel the diaphragm pull down. Exhale to slowly release back. Pushing every bit of air out of the lungs. Elongate the spine, feeling the length from the top back of the head. Reaching the chest forward, especially. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you want to remove a pillow. I'm not going to do that this morning, but you can do that if you feel like it. But also, if it's starting to feel intense, you want to add a little bit more cushion, maybe just a little bit of a rolled up blanket or something like that. Keep pressing all the edges of the feet into the floor. And reaching the arms forward, reaching the chest forward, coming up to stand. Feel free to wiggle the hips around a little bit. We've done quite a bit in the hips actually. Maybe folding down for a moment to just let the Head feel heavy, let the shoulders feel heavy. Maybe bend with the knees. Shake the head no, nod the head yes. Rolling up. Then maybe putting the hands in our back pockets and pressing the hips forward. Still bending the knees in the direction that our feet are pointing. We're opening up the hip flexors here. Release. Excellent. What time are we at? Awesome. Okay. So let's come back to the floor. Actually, another support I want to offer before we go to the floor is something that I did last week, which is to open up our shoulders and upper back. So we can move to a wall or the edge of a tabletop or something like that. We can have our hands straight against the wall. I'm using this mantle, so I'm able to put my hands like this, but if you're putting your hands like this, that's totally fine. And it doesn't even really matter how high that is. If it's like a table, like hip height, that's totally fine. So I'm gonna step back just a bit. My feet are parallel, knees are bent, my hips are relaxed, and here I'm gonna let my head drop down between my shoulders. Hips are reaching back. Chest is starting to feel heavy. And I'm just gonna open up the shoulders and outer back here. Letting my chest melt heavy, hips reaching back. Maybe you feel this arch in the spine. Play with the ankles. Play with how wide our hands are. If you are against the wall and you're practicing a little bit more like this, we can play with where the hands are to see what feels good. And if we lower them even more, we can reach the hips back. And pressing up. Wonderful. Okay, now we'll go back to the floor. Great. And give ourselves one more hip opener before we move to Shavasana. So, I'll invite us to grab this right shin and to tuck our arms underneath the right calf, underneath the right shin, and squeeze this right shin close to the body. Let's first just open and close the right hip socket, just like a hinge on the door. And then rocking front to back. Moving in a circle. Release that right arm to the back right corner. Rolling onto the back right corner. Rolling onto the outside of that right hip. See if you can find any balls of sharp tension there. Some inflammation in the piriformis can be a nasty feeling. So rock and roll and see if we can release that tension in the outer hip. If you're not feeling it, good for you. But if you are, you'll know, because it's a really sharp pain. I think I always say this part of the body is so fascinating because it's tension that we only feel when we address it, but we don't necessarily feel just when we're moving around in our daily lives, the piriformis in particular. But it does impact the rest of our body. It can cause lower back pain. It can cause pain in our hip flexors when we stand up straight. It can cause that shooting pain, the sciatic nerve down the outside of the leg. But this pain that we feel when we address it is certainly unique, and we don't feel this pain just every day. The tension's still there. I think it's a powerful metaphor. Let's switch to the other side. Having the left shin in just to warm up the hips here. Open, close, rocking front to back. And rolling in a circle. Ooh, I can already tell this hip is going to be intense for me. And then releasing the left hand to the back left corner. Sorry. Rock and roll. Oh my gosh. This is so intense for me right now. Rock and roll onto that left hip. Explore. Try to release the left hip as you rub. Give some heat here. Keep breathing. Sometimes I hold my breath in a space like this, but try to breathe slow, deep. And release. Go ahead and rest that left shin down so that our shin is parallel with our shoulders. Now, even just right now, I can feel that my left knee isn't going all the way into the floor, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of cushion because this is a support flow. I'm going to bring my right foot to the outside of my left knee. Now, this might be our stretch zone today for some of us, is just like putting this foot here and holding onto this right knee, sitting this right hip down. This might be enough for us. Some of us may want to put a cushion underneath this hip as well, so that we can kind of rest here and lengthen the spine. We can also put cushion underneath. So as we work to close knee to ankle, ankle on top of knee, we can add some cushion right here, which can feel really nice. And then the next thing is to just reach the chest forward. So even if we're sitting up and just reaching the chest forward, that work is so helpful for our pelvis, for our lower back, for our outer hips. So reaching the chest forward. Some of us may be able to kind of lean forward, and that's okay. And if you are able to do that, we can add more pillows, add more cushion, just so that you're able to rest on something. Breathing deep. Flexing both feet to protect the Achilles and the calves. Try to let that chest launch forward, nice and heavy. Breathing into the outer hips. Feel these outer hips expand, inflate on the inhale, and exhale, feel them sink heavy into the floor. And release. Switching sides. Letting this right shin rest on the floor. Bringing the left foot to the outside of the right thigh. Again, we may want to put some cushion underneath this hip so that we can let it sit heavy. We may want some cushion underneath this knee as we close ankle to knee, knee to ankle, ankle to knee. Some of us may just be reaching forward. I forgot to mention that if all this is still intense for you, we can also adjust like so and plant this foot right here. And we can also roll to our back, letting our head rest on the floor right here. So lots of variations here for us. And just making sure we're feeling the pelvis tilt forward And that means that our chest should reach forward too. Even if it just reaches forward, even if it looks like we're sitting tall, that's totally fine. If you are able to lean forward a little bit more, I encourage you to grab some blankets or some cushions to just let your body rest heavy. Want to avoid, for this support flow, want to avoid doing any of that work to hold your body up. Just let your nervous system feel safe and supported with props, with pillows, and just rest here. Once you've had enough space here, gently roll up. And let's prepare for our Shavasana. So we have a few options in Shavasana. Um, Something that I think feels really nice and supportive is to use this incline again once more for our spine. I think it just creates a really nice hip release, so I'm going to invite us to use this, creating an incline here. If you prefer to let your back just rest on the floor, that's totally fine. And remember, if your back is resting on the floor, feel free to stuff a blanket underneath that lower back. So in Shavasana here, I'm resting my whole spine on my inclined bolster. And I'm going to let the legs stretch long. And in fact, I'm even going to add some elevation with another cushion so that my knees are lifted. This is going to let my hips feel so heavy. And then with your blanket, it feels great to cover yourself up. I also like putting just a little bit of weight here on my pelvis. If you're looking to feel openness, maybe letting the palms rest face up. If you're looking to feel grounded or connect with groundedness, maybe we can put the palms facing down. Here in Shavasana, our goal is to do no work. So make any adjustments that you need. If you want more of an incline in your feet, go for it. If you want to rest the legs on a wall, go for it. Scoot closer to a wall. Identifying the parts of our body that we feel like are holding tension or are doing work, and trying to bring more support to those parts of our body. These props, ultimately what they're doing is they're bringing the earth closer to our body. So they're helping us connect to the earth by giving some support and moving into the space. Okay, so as we lay down here in Shavasana, I'm feeling super grateful to have this community to wake up to. It's so not easy to be in this new reality. And I know for myself, just inviting some discipline to wake up and practice yoga to start my day. Yes, I start my day. It's important to me. So whether you're practicing with us live or practicing later in the day, thank you for hopping online. We haven't had a single day where no one practices yoga with us. We practice yoga every day since March 13th, Friday 13th. So this work is so important for ourselves, for our own bodies. And the other piece is that we're really trying to grow a movement of relief for queer, trans, POC families who are struggling. So we're also spreading the word about this yoga flow and really trying to invite as many folks in so that we can raise donations to support queer, trans, POC families in the community. Spread the word. You can just energetically, feeling this goodness, reach out. And I'll invite you to cultivate some gratitude for yourself and for all the possibilities that allowed you to join us and practice yoga this morning. It is a privilege to be together in this way, to have the space to slow down like this. And as we slow the breath down, relaxing the ankles, relaxing the knees, relaxing the hips, letting each vertebra rest heavy, shoulders heavy, fingers heavy. Long, slow inhale, slow, controlled exhale. little fingers, little toes, bringing our attention back to our bodies on this floor, in this room, in this virtual space, practicing together. And I'll invite us to take 3 sighs of relief. Breathing in. Again, breathing in. One more time. Breathing in, let it all out, y'all. Breathing in. Stay here as long as you like. Feel free to ignore my directions, but if you're ready, we can roll over to our right side, curling up in the fetal position. Find a moment of comfort here. And again, stay here as long as you like. If you're ready, meeting us in this comfortable seat. Hands resting on the knees, bringing the hands to heart center, or placing the hands over our heartbeat. A breath for the ancestors we bring to our practice and to the indigenous people who were here before colonization. Breathing in and out. A breath to thank yourself for your practice today. Breathing in and out. A breath to appreciate others for their support. Breathing in and out. And a breath for the intention to well-being of everybody in this community we're building together. Breathing in and out. Loving humanity, brothers and sisters, loving humanity, stay. Thank you for practicing with me today. Thank you for studying the word about our daily yoga every morning at 10 a.m. We're trying to figure out, like, can we post on Facebook Live and YouTube Live every morning? We're figuring out how to do that in a way that makes sense. All of our flows should be on our YouTube channel, where the Glitter Goddess Collective. And please spread the word. And please, if you can, every dollar helps. I have a list of needs here from people in the community, folks who've lost their jobs, who've run out of food stamps, who really want to make a grocery run or want to refill their prescriptions and who are struggling to make ends meet. So every dollar that you donate to this Glitter Goddess Yoga Relief Fund will go straight to the pockets of queer, trans, POC families who are especially struggling, largely due to structural inequality and systemic inequality in the way that disproportionately affects families of color and queer, trans, POC, low-income families. So please donate if you can. Our Venmo is the Glitter Goddesses. But you can also just shoot me a message to coordinate. But thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your support. Until tomorrow morning. Bye.